हाय गाइस, गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू ग्रेडअप। नमस्कार, आप सबका एक बार फिर से ग्रेडअप में स्वागत है। मेरा नाम है हर्षमीत सिंह। आज के वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं इम्पॉर्टेंट एनवायरनमेंट रिलेटेड ट्रीटीज। जैसे कि आपको पता है 5 PM इज द टाइम मंडे टू फ्राइडे where I come online to discuss with you certain important topics related to UPSC preparation. The topic that we are going to be following today is important environment related treaties. एनवायरमेंट से जुड़ी हुई, पर्यावरण से जुड़ी हुई जो अलग अलग अग्रीमेंट्स हैं, ट्रीटीज जो साइन होती हैं, उसके बारे में हम आज बात करने वाले हैं। गुड इवनिंग सब लोगों को जो आ चुके हैं। हेलो तन्वी, गुड इवनिंग। हेलो कृणाल, गुड इवनिंग। गुड इवनिंग प्रियांशु, गुड इवनिंग अर्जुन। हाय निखिल, गुड इवनिंग। गुड इवनिंग टू एवरीवन। हेलो मोनी प्रभा, गुड इवनिंग। गुड इवनिंग सुरभि। हेलो निखिल, हेलो प्रियांशु, गुड इवनिंग। आई होप सब लोग अच्छे से हैं। जैसा मैं आपको पहले से बता देता हूँ, ये वीडियो लाइव जा रहा है यूट्यूब पर भी और ग्रेडअप ऐप पर भी। तो अगर आप यूट्यूब पर देख रहे हैं, इफ यू आर वॉचिंग दिस ऑन यूट्यूब, आई रिक्वेस्ट यू टू लाइक द सेशन। इफ यू आर वॉचिंग दिस ऑन द ग्रेडअप ऐप, अगेन आई वेलकम यू ऑल। हेलो वसुंधरा, गुड इवनिंग। हाय अभिषेक, गुड इवनिंग। हेलो गुनागंती, हेलो मनीष, गुड इवनिंग। Without waiting any further, let's begin. As you know, a lot of treaties related to environment and different aspects of it have been signed by countries across the world, including India. So India also is a part of a lot of such treaties. This is what we will be discussing today. एक एक करके हम treaties discuss करेंगे. This is very, very, very important, especially for the prelims point of view. In the IAS, UPSC prelims examination, you get a lot of questions from these treaties, etc. So make sure that you keep taking notes, that you keep taking screenshots in this class. We will start with 1971 convention called the Ramsar Convention. As you know, Ramsar is a place in Iran on the basis of which the treaty was signed, called the Ramsar Convention. This is for preserving wetlands across the world. It is also known by one more name, Waterfowl Convention, and India is a part of it. Right now, there are 27 Ramsar sites in India. There are 27 Ramsar sites in India. So, do remember this. Ramsar sites is also one of the questions that you keep on seeing throughout the UPSC examinations. So, make sure that you keep a note of it. Okay, I have one more question for you. Can you tell me which country in the world has the most number of Ramsar sites? Can you tell me in the chat, which country in the world has the most number of Ramsar sites? The largest number of Ramsar sites in the world. India has only 27. Can you tell me which country has the most number of Ramsar sites? Hello Gurpreet, hello Ajit, hello Shrikar, Abhya. The question is very simple. Which country has the most number of Ramsar sites in the world? India is not the answer. So मैं पहले बता दूं, let me tell you in advance, India is not the answer. Okay, Vishwender. Okay, Nikhil, Priyanka. India is not the answer. Any other idea? Okay, Manish. Okay, Tanvi. The country with the most number of Ramsar sites in the world is actually UK, followed by Mexico. So UK comes at the top with the most number of Ramsar sites, and then we have Mexico. So the second convention that we have is called Stockholm Declaration of 1972. Stockholm Declaration is for environment protection, and UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Program, was made as a result of the Stockholm Convention of 1972. The next treaty that keeps on coming in the current affairs is CITES, CITES, that stands for Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species and Wildlife Flora. It is also called Washington Convention. Under this treaty, it is illegal to have international commercial trade in endangered species. So if there are certain endangered species, you cannot trade in them, you cannot buy or sell them internationally. This is what this treaty prohibits. CITES, CITES, also called as the Washington Convention. 1979 saw the establishment of CMS, Convention on Migratory Species. As the name suggests, this is for protection of those wild species that migrate from one country to the other during a change in the season. They are also called as a Bonn Convention. Bonn is a place in Germany. Bonn is a place in Germany, so it's called as a Bonn Convention. It is signed under the UN Environment Program, UNEP, which came up in 1972, which we just discussed. Hi Sonal, good evening. So this was CMS. Nairobi Convention 1982, again very important for sustainable development. It was introduced and signed on the 10th anniversary of the Stockholm Convention of 1972. Vienna Convention, one of the most famous protocols. Under Vienna Convention, the Montreal Protocol was signed. Both of these are related to ozone layer protection. So basically it was a Vienna Convention under which Montreal Protocol was signed. In fact, Montreal Protocol is said to be the only international treaty related to environment that has a positive impact in the world. The only treaty that has actually achieved its aim, the only treaty that has ensured that environment is actually protected is the Montreal Protocol, which has led to refilling or rehealing of the ozone layer hole that we have. It is a protocol under the Vienna Convention for protection of the ozone layer. It is a legally binding treaty. So every country has agreed that we will be bound by this particular treaty. They target only ozone depleting substances and not the greenhouse gases. Remember, the greenhouse gases are not targeted under this. Only ozone depleting substances are banned under this. Hi Nidhi, good evening. Then we had the Brundtland Report in 1987 on sustainable development. This is a report famous for giving the concept of sustainable development. Remember this? The concept of sustainable development was first given by the Brundtland Commission report in 1987. 1992 saw another very important treaty under the Earth Summit. It was also called the UNCED, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, also called the Rio Declaration. It had 27 principles, which included many things: CBD, UNFCCC, UNCCD, etc. etc. So there were a lot of things that were signed under one single Rio Summit or Rio Declaration in 1992. गुरप्रीत कह रहा है बैक वाला पॉइंट रिपीट करो. गुरप्रीत कौन सा ये द if you are talking about Brundtland report is famous because it gave the concept of sustainable development. Before this, I talked about Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol only bans ozone depleting substances. जो केमिकल ओजोन के लिए हार्मफुल है, केवल उसको बैन किया. ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज वर नॉट बैन. तो ग्रीन हाउस गैस को नहीं बैन किया. Then we have Agenda 21 of 1992. 21 stands for the 21st century. What should the countries do in 21st century to have a sustainable development in the future? I really hope that you are taking a screenshot of all of this, because all this is pretty important for your prelims examination. In 1992, we have the UNFCCC to reduce greenhouse gas emission and to combat global warming across the world. This is a legally non-binding treaty, and Kyoto Protocol, the famous Kyoto Protocol, was negotiated amongst the different nations under UNFCCC only. This is done to capture or to make sure that the greenhouse gases are reduced and the emission of the greenhouse gases are brought lower. Then we have the CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity, 1992, under which sustainable development and resource sharing will be under the radar. The countries will try to share their resources with each other. The countries will make sure that we have biosafety protocol that is followed, meaning that if a country is experimenting in any biotechnology, if something is harmed or something harmful comes up, that country will make sure that they share information throughout the world. Not just this, if something good has happened or if some new development has taken place in the field of biotechnology, the information should be shared with everyone. So it talks about sharing of benefits and sharing of resources as well. Then 1994 UNCD, this is the only agreement we have for combating desertification. Desertification means when plains are converted into deserts, when all the greenery goes away, the water resources go away, and the area is converted into desert. To stop that from happening, UNCD was signed in 1994 to combat desertification. It is legally binding. Canada withdrew from this particular treaty. The Kyoto Protocol, again very famous. The Kyoto Protocol of 1997, specifically to fight global warming. Under this protocol, there were many gases that have been taken into consideration. It talks about carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, sulfur hexafluoride, hydrofluorocarbons, and perfluorocarbons. All these things are talked about in Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol, okay, Nilotpal wants me to zoom in. Okay, I'll zoom in into this slide. Here you go. Oh, just a second. Let me try to zoom into this slide. Okay, here you go. So this would be the first part from the top. You can take a screenshot and then I will go at the bottom. Anything for you, man. I hope I've taken a screenshot. Now I'm going to the bottom. So what the Kyoto Protocol did was it divided the countries into different groups. First group was first annexure countries. First annexure countries means industrialized countries which have or which were responsible for most of the pollution. Second annexure countries were developed countries which will pay money to the developing nations. So second annexure, I hope you have taken a screenshot. Second annexure countries were the ones that agreed to pay the developing nations. For example, US or these Western countries who agreed to pay to the developing nations for cleaner energy. These were annexure 2 countries. Non-annexure countries are the developing nations such as India. The second commitment period, the commitment that was made under this was never fulfilled. The commitment was that the higher order nations, the nations which are developed, which are responsible for most of the pollution, they will help the lower countries, but it never happened. Then we have the Rotterdam Convention to ensure that hazardous substances are transported properly. So if one country is transporting hazardous substance to some other country, all the countries in its route will know about it. If, for example, if something is going by ship from one country to the other country, all the countries in between should know about it. This is Rotterdam Convention. Chemicals, pesticides in international trade should have a proper marking. Everyone should be aware of it. प्रियंका सॉरी बच्चे, ये वाली क्लास हिंदी में नहीं होती है, ये वाली क्लास इंग्लिश में होती है. We also have the Cartagena Protocol of 2000, specifically for biodiversity. If any risk is possessed by any biological experiment, if some biological experiment is going on and something goes wrong, it has to be informed to all the countries across the world so that every country can take action. This is what we called as the Cartagena Protocol. This is for biosafety. If something wrong happens in any biological experiment, every country has a right to know about it. Then we have the Stockholm Convention of 2001. This is to restrict the production and use of persistent organic pollutant, that is POP. Persistent organic pollutants are the ones that lead to greenhouse emissions, that also lead to ozone layer depletion. These have been banned. Then we had RED and RED plus. RED stands for reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. This was announced under which the countries would be encouraged to grow more trees. If the countries grow more trees so that they can clean their environment, they can create carbon sinks, then they would be held by the developing nations. This was RED plus. Countries were encouraged to increase their forest cover, to create better carbon sinks, and to conserve their forest. Nagoya Protocol of 2010, again similar to the previous one, to share the benefits of biological diversity. If some new invention has been made, then that breakthrough should be shared with everyone. Every country should be able to take responsibility, or every country should be able to take benefit of any new biological experiment. Rio Plus 20, it is a conference on sustainable development. It was held on the 20th anniversary of the Rio Summit 1992. I hope you have taken screenshot of each and every slide because this is extremely important. The last amongst them, the famous one, was a Paris Agreement of 2015 for climate change, where every country came up with its nationally determined goals. India's goal was we will reduce greenhouse gas emission of by percentage of GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030. By 2030, 40% of our energy would be generated by non-fossil fuel. We will increase our forest cover to create additional carbon sink. USA withdrew from the treaty, but then now that Joe Biden is back, the US is also back in this treaty. We also had the Kigali Amendment of 2016, in which ozone layer depletion was talked about. It aims to reduce the hydrofluorocarbons by 80 to 85% by 2045. India is also a member of this. Different aims or different targets were given to developed countries and developing countries. The least developed countries were given a target of 2045. And now, quickly reminding you that the time is running up for your examinations one by one. We will keep reminding you every single day so that there is an urgency in you. Today is the last day for the 45% off offer. If you want to buy Gradeup Super subscription, use the code mantra45. Remember, today is the last day for this. Santosh wants me to go to the previous slide. Santosh, this is the previous slide. If this is what you wanted, this is it. Take a screenshot. Now the next slide. I hope you have taken screenshot again. Then the next slide. This was the last one. And this is where we are. So make sure that you avail this with 40 mantra 45 is the code. You can go download the Gradeup app, go to the prepare option, choose your plan, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whichever plan you want to buy. Apply the coupon code and make the payment. These are the benefits you get of subscribing to Gradeup Super. You get all the UPSC courses all together will be open to you. You get structured study plan, expert faculty, best study material, mock tests, PDF quizzes, and a lot more. These are the faculty members. I'm sure many of you would have attended their classes. This is me, Harshmeet Singh. I teach polity and governance. All the teachers are experts of their respective fields and have been teaching thousands of students over the past years. All these are experts of their subject. We have different teachers for all the different subjects, as you can see here. I'm sure you would have attended their classes. We are also on Telegram. If you are on Telegram, search for Gradeup IAS Preparation channel. Join the channel. We upload study material and short notes daily on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I will see you tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. with the next important term for UPSC. Till then, bye-bye, guys. Take care. Have a good day ahead.